Hey folks, we're back. That's right, a second season of the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show after every green and white game. Join me along with my co-host, Kyrie Zaber, the former NFLer and CFLer, and accomplished high school football coach Ryan Hall, as we break down each week's game for you. And new this year, we will welcome your telephone calls. So yeah, it's like a regular call-in show. Call in, we'll chop it up with you. Can't wait to have another fun season. It's the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show.
Whew.
Oh, hey, there we go. I can hear myself. I apologize, folks. The this cold's kind of coming on, and I'm hopped up on cold medication. I apologize. And a little rattled by the end of that game. This is the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show. Rough Riders losing to Edmonton 27-25, and they now have dropped 2 games in a row for the first time this year, 10-4. 2 games clear of both Calgary and Winnipeg. Bombers won today in convincing fashion, 40-3 over Hamilton to go to their bye week. And the Calgary Stampeders have been fading while the BC Lions are coming on. So yeah, you got teams around the Riders playing better. Winnipeg and BC for sure. And you've got Calgary stumbling. Edmonton very much in the mix with a nice convincing victory. And yeah, you got the Riders taking a bit of a swoon. Are you concerned, Rider Nation? Can weigh in on the, via the chat, Ballsy Uncut on X, Ballsy Uncut on Facebook, even on Instagram, and we also are on YouTube. Subscribe and you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to share and like this. We'll talk about this game, all the games. We'll also talk about what was a debacle of a week in the Canadian Football League with a boneheaded move by the commissioner in basically dropping a bomb on the league. I think so. You think differently? Call in. Let's chat about it. But the question is, have the Riders peaked too early? Have the Riders and the Tiger Cats peaked too early? The Tabbies not looking good at all today. And the Riders, I think they've given up, I heard 6 plays of 30 yards or more in the last 2 games by their defense as they fall 27-25 to the Edmonton Elkamos. And the Elks, kudos to them, man. They were playing with some heavy hearts. Larry Thompson, their owner of just 1 year, grew up an Eskimos fan way back in Clark Stadium as a season ticket holder. Comes to the team, buys the team, rescues it from its debacle that was the community ownership. It was one of the staples of the CFL for years. The Eskimos were the team not only on the field, but off the field everybody aspired to be. And then they fell on some hard times. And Larry Thompson comes on board, buys the team. They were showing on the broadcast today on TV their game last year after the Labor Day rematch. He hits the Calgary Stampeders bench with the truck that goes around the field. And that's another thing I'll get to in a minute. But with the truck that goes around the field, Dave Dickinson at that time didn't like it. Larry said he didn't mean to, but then he had that kind of devilish grin. It's nice to see his family there. Nice to see a crowd of over 30,000 fans at the game in full throat. And hey, give kudos to Rider Nation. They traveled real well. Didn't travel well to Winnipeg, but maybe that's because in the past they were used to getting their asses handed to them by the Bombers and probably not treated hospitably by Bomber Nation, so they didn't want to waste their money and go to Princess Auto Stadium, but they have traveled well in Calgary. They have traveled well in Edmonton, and today didn't turn out so well for the Rough Riders. Still in first place, and if you're a Rider fan, you probably are, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't assume. Are you feeling worried about your team now losing to, or you probably want to see your team stub its toe right now instead of the playoffs? We have a caller there already. Let's get to the caller. Oh, yeah. The people's champ, Sheldon. Sheldon, where the hell have you been?
Oh, being a father again and again and again. I can't stop making these kids.
What are you up? What are you up to? Like, do I call you the Western producer, John Chick? How many kids?
I got 3 now. So I went from man-to-man defense to just zone, straight zone. We're playing a zone.
Okay, so you're a big-time Rough Rider fan. Let's start there because you had messaged me and said, "Hey, I want to talk a little bit about the CFL week that was in terms of the rules." It'd be interesting to get your take. But first off, let's get your take on this game. Are you worried about your Rough Riders, people's champ? They've lost they've lost 2 games and they have not looked good at all.
No, they haven't. And I would be more concerned. I figured there would be a bit of rust tonight. Coming off bye week. I don't like when a team is winning. I mean, they had a rough one there before the bye week, but I don't like the break. I knew there'd be a bit of rust tonight. I didn't think there'd be that much rust. It looked like a 92 Honda out there tonight. We didn't do anything in the first half at all offensively. We were terrible. 3 points, that's not going to cut it. And I felt like even when we did make a run there, we had a nice 105-yard drive, we instantly come back and give up points again. It's like we couldn't find our rhythm. I'll tell you this much, though, Ballsy, if they want to win moving forward, the ball's going to have to go through Ouellette, 100%. You're going to have to develop the run game every single game because I'm not going to take a shot at Harris, but I've seen a couple things tonight I didn't really like, a couple mistimed throws. Just not – if I'm looking at it right now, you would have asked me a month ago, I'm telling you the Riders are legitimate Grey Cup contenders. Right now, I don't even think they're a top 3 team.
Yeah,
the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, I can't dispute that, and that's not me being Bomber Ballsy, as they like to call me now. He's looking though like he's 39 years old. Like I said this before the bye, his game is regressing.
It's not he's not a spring chicken anymore. People forget that. I'm happy we have Jake Mayer, but I'm also concerned he hasn't really had much time this year. And I'm looking around the league, Ballsy, and everybody's getting healthy. You got Nathan Rourke. He's starting to come into his own. You got Davis Alexander in Montreal. People forget that team was really good before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And we all know this. It does not matter how you start in the CFL. It's how you finish. And right now, I'm hoping this is a speed bump. But I'm telling you, not a lot of teams are getting beat by the Edmonton Elks. And if we're one of them right now, post-Labor Day, that's not a good sign.
No.
We had 2 weeks to prepare for this team, and I don't think they have are they last in the West?
Yeah, they're last in the West, yes.
They're last in the West. You had 2 weeks to prepare. So, yeah, there's going to be some rust, but 2 weeks to prepare for the worst team in the West, and you come out like that for, like, the first 30 minutes? Like, we lost the game, in my opinion, in the first half, Ballsy. We didn't have any energy whatsoever, man.
And that's got to, like, I have nothing against Corey Mace. I think he's a good, bright, young Canadian coach, which I like. But we also have to call it like we see it. And the last 2 weeks, this team has lacked jam, and that's one of his calling cards is jam. So that's gotta be on the head coach a little bit, in my opinion.
It is and it isn't. I don't think you can put these last 2 games on him. Like, we can't discount the first 13 games of the year. You can't discount what we've done to this point. I think he's a good coach. I think he's built this team the right direction. Do I think he has the tools right now in place to win a Grey Cup? I'm a firm believer that the most important position on the football field is your quarterback. And right now I don't look at Trevor Harris as a top 3 quarterback in this league. So if we're going to win, we're going to have to, and I'm just being honest. I'm a Rider homer too. I love my Riders, but being honest, he is not a top 3 quarterback in this league. So with that, we're going to have other guys step up. Our defense is going to have to play well. Brett Lauder is going to have to get his head out of the microwave. He's going to have to start kicking field goals consistently heading into playoffs. And they're going to have to take Ouellette to another level. They're going to have him involved every single series. He is going to be, whether or not we move forward and get the playoffs and make a deep run, ball's got to go through him, 100%. He's going to tire out defenses. The more you give that guy the ball, let his little bowling ball body take 5 or 6 yards at a time, he's going to wear down defenses. And they need to do that right from start to finish.
Hey, your quarterback, I got 2 questions more about the game, and then we'll get to the CFL talk, okay? So your quarterback has to have the it factor most of the time. The odd time you can have a Trent Dilfer win a Super Bowl or a Marcus Crandall win a Grey Cup, but your quarterback has to have the it factor. He has to be able to do it when everything is on the line. Does Trevor Harris have that in your opinion? Because his resume says he doesn't. That doesn't mean I don't think he's a good quarterback. That doesn't mean I don't think he's a talented quarterback, but Kevin Glenn didn't have it. He doesn't seem to have it to me. Does he have it?
I mean, he has a piece of it, but I don't think he has. Well, I'm going to be real with you, Ballsy. You said it before, 2-3 years ago before any injuries. Yeah, I mean, I think we could have won a Grey Cup with him. I still think we can. I just think it's going to be more of like you were talking about there with Trent Dilfer. It's going to be a team win. Trevor Harris isn't going to come out, throw 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and single-handedly scramble for another 75 and win you the game. That's not going to happen. Nathan Rourke can do that, and Davis Alexander can do that. Those are the 2 guys, in my personal opinion, in this league right now that have the it factor at quarterback. They're in a level above everybody else. Davis Alexander hadn't played in 2 months. He came back and looked like a star. Okay, so no, he doesn't have the it factor, but I don't think he needs the it factor. I think the team needs to play collectively as a whole really, really well, and they're going to win. And they can win a Grey Cup. But one thing Trevor Harris cannot do is throw 2 interceptions in the same series.
Yeah.
That's not going to help you win. And people forget this all the time. They're like, oh, we were so close tonight. We got down to the goal line and almost tied the game. Yeah, almost. But if you forget along the way about all those little turnovers, back-to-back interceptions on the same drive that could have led to 3 points, guess what? That's a win tonight.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And if you're going to it's all these little pieces throughout the game that you give away. And eventually you give away too much, you don't get anything back in return. That's what happened tonight. We lost to a bad football team. Call it whatever you want. Edmonton is not a good football team. They got an average team at best. They're competitive, but they're not a good football team.
Yeah.
And we lost to them tonight because we gave the ball away 3 times in the first half.
Yeah.
And our defense, I'll give credit to the defense, Ballsy. They held us in there in that first half. You turn the ball over 3 times in one half to only give up 11 points on the road, that's pretty good football.
You can't, though. I will say this. You can't. And I watch how I criticize now. That's my perspective now that I have flesh and blood in the league, so I have a different perspective. But I will tell you this. You can't let Hilaire and Victor and some of these receivers look like the second coming of Fred Stamps and Brian Kelly. Like, there were guys wide open deep, and that's been the case the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it's technique. I don't know what it is. But if that D-line doesn't get pressure on quarterbacks, that defensive secondary looks like Swiss cheese a lot of times, minus Roland Milligan.
Yeah, we got definitely a few holes in the secondary. And you know, we're lucky we weren't playing Davis Alexander there a couple of weeks ago because we'd have really got pasted.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm being real. You give a star quarterback with star wide, like if BC were to play us right now the way we're playing in our secondary, what do you think Keon Hatcher and Justin McInnis would do to us?
Yeah.
You talked about Swiss cheese. They put us in the frickin' smoker. We'd be smoked by halftime.
Well,
we've got holes. They held us in the first half. Again, they're playing a poor team. You play a team that has playmakers like Philpott, like we talked about, and Keon Hatcher and Justin McInnis, guys who can stretch the ball down the field and make plays, we're going to be in trouble. So we're going to need a more consistent effort from our defense. Same point in time, though. You cannot turn the ball over 3 times in the first half on the road after a 2-week bye against the worst team in the West. You can't do that.
No, you can't. Hey, People's Champ, before I let you go, because you got 3 kids, I don't know how old they are, but they probably all got to go to bed because it's getting close to bedtime. Can you fill me in on your thoughts on the rule changes? I like that. You're a very opinionated guy, so I'd like your opinion on this.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to be real with you, Ballsy. The one thing before I start off on this, I do have a few that I'm pretty adamant about. The one thing I've been noticing out of everybody I've talked to in the football world, and even through work and whatnot, everybody seems to have a strong opinion. And I like that. That means the game is healthy. That means people give a damn. When you're sitting on the fence and you don't care one way or the other, that's a problem. So whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, it's really not too much the point. It's the fact that people care enough to put their opinions out there, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are sitting on the fence.
Yep.
I've got the three big ones in mind. Obviously, I'm going to start it off with the Rouge.
Yep.
I know this is maybe an unpopular opinion, certainly in your corner of the world, but I think it's a great thing to get rid of. I think it belongs in a Justin Trudeau financial book somewhere because it's completely and utterly useless. And this is why I'll say it. Nowhere in life should you be rewarded for failure. Now, Ballsy, I know you talked heavily about it's a Canadian game, it's a Canadian aspect. The Rouge is good. It's part of us. I'm going to tell you this right now. You said you had a son that's playing for the Calgary Dinos, correct?
No, I have a son playing for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You're a year late.
Well, whatever. I thought you said you're out in Calgary on business with your son's football or something.
Yeah.
Listen, if your son was fat and he was out of shape and he didn't know how to tie his shoelaces and he showed up to football practice, would you expect him to start, yes or no?
No.
Absolutely not. So why should I, as a fan, expect a 30-year-old man kicking a ball through a couple of goalposts when he fails to be rewarded by giving a point?
Because okay. It's
hold on. Oh, no, you're going to let me finish on this one, Balls, because listen, I haven't called it in a long time. I got a lot of fire about this one.
Okay.
Here's the other thing. Mm-hmm. In terms of gameplay, put yourself in the Grey Cup. You're at the 30-yard line. There's 1 second on the clock. The score's 24-24. It's going down as the greatest football game in history. And you have the punter line up from the 30-yard line and boot the ball through the end zone. Game over. How exciting is that? Are you kidding me?
How many?
The Rouge belongs. Hold on. The Rouge belongs with the Liberal voters out east and the 8th place trophies for their kids that can't finish the track meet. That's where the Rouge belongs. Take it out of the game. I don't want it in mine.
Okay,
let
me stop you there. I'll relent on this because I said this. And I had Peter Diakowski, smartest man on Canada, on my show, former rider, offensive lineman, and we talked about this. The Rouge is the history of the game. The Rouge goes back to our rugby roots. The Rouge allows us to have one of the most exciting plays in football. What are we going to do, ban the fucking Hail Mary now? Because, oh my God, it's a Hail Mary and they never call pass interference on it. Here, the Rouge is for, in the wind and the sleet and the cold, the line of scrimmage is like war. The line of scrimmage is what football is all about. It's a battle of field position. That's a reward for a battle of field position. Now, hear me out. We also talk about we don't score enough in this league. And we'll get to that. We don't score enough in this league. Well, you're going to take points off the board. So do we want points or we don't want points? Secondly, or thirdly, or whatever the hell it is, you got me fired up now about this Rouge. You're right. You're right about the Rouge in this sense. I would be with you on this. Although the first time a game of importance has ever ended on the next time a game has ever ended on a Rouge of importance will be the first time. A Grey Cup has never been one like that. And people like you, which I love you calling in, people with your argument, will say, well, there's going to be a first time. Well, they didn't have to make all these grandiose changes. They could have just said there's no Rouge either inside of 3 minutes, so we can't at a game like that, or if the ball isn't playable, if it goes out through the end zone and a guy can't catch it and kick it out or run it out, then it is no point, ball spotted on the 25-yard line. We didn't have to move goalposts. And that goes to the second question I have for you. Why in the bloody hell would we move the goalposts? Did you see the Winnipeg Blue Bomber game today with Hamilton? The Tiger Cats would have been shut out. The dude kicks the ball. It goes off the upright and goes in, like off the crossbar and in. And Dustin Nielsen has, besides the Vavel kickoff return, that's the most his inflection in his voice the whole broadcast. Yeah, it's a little gimmicky, but it's fun. It's different. It's unique. Why would we move the goalposts?
Oh, I'm glad you asked me. You watch NHL hockey, Ballsy?
Yep, all the time.
You ever see a goaltender at center ice poke checking guys as they walk by?
No.
You don't have obstructions in the way. The only sport I know that has obstructions in the way intentionally is golf. And that's because it's one of the hardest sports to play. Baseball, you don't have people like a giant jumbotron out there. You don't have somebody out in the NBA tackling you mid-court. Okay, you don't need an obstruction. Okay, and here's the other thing. I've seen now every single year that I've watched the game, there's a couple of quarterbacks without fail that'll hit the uprights. You're talking about putting points on the board? You're not going to hit
when's
the uprights
the last
Sheldon,
when's the last time a quarterback hit the ball with the post? That'll be that Cody Fajardo.
It happens every year.
No,
Ballsy,
it doesn't.
where have you been? It's happened every single year since I've been alive.
No, it has not. Now you're too busy having sex and you're not watching TV. It has not, and nobody hits the goalpost with their body. You want to know the real?
I personally been at a game where the Riders have hit the post. If
you can text me or send me a collection of balls every year that have hit the goalpost, I will personally go on this show next week and say the People's Champ is 100% right, but you're 100% wrong because it doesn't happen every year.
I'm telling you this: it's guaranteed happen at least once a year. Has to have. You can't tell me there's 100 and some games. Nobody's hit the post. I've seen it hit the post. At the end of the day, Ballsy, there's no need for a goal post to be a problem for quarterbacks to throw a touchdown. The other thing is this.
Yeah.
Ballsy, you mentioned it earlier now in your earlier rant there, which I gave you time. What happens the next time a player is blindsided into one of those posts and breaks his neck? Let me ask you that, because it's going to happen eventually. Someone's going to get seriously freaking hurt. You're expecting players to run full speed across the middle where there's a steel pole with a pad on it?
As Mike O'Shea told, listen, let me ask you a question. First of all, Mike O'Shea told my son that I played in a league when there was no padding on the post, and he's never seen one person hit a post in his whole life. Yeah, there could be a first time, and I'll give you that. But what do you think of Mark Trestman? Do you think Mark Trestman was one of the best coaches that's ever coached in the CFL? What do you think of him?
Probably up there, yeah. He's up there for sure. Wally Buono, Don Matthews. Yeah. Listen, Mike O'Shea, great human being, great coach, but ask him how he's doing when he's 60 years old with CTE. Let's be honest for a second. Let's be honest. These guys, I understand. You can listen, Ballsy. I grew up in the era, too. I'm over 40 years old. I grew up with an old man who was tough as frickin' nails. You didn't sit there. You threw some salt in the wound. You got up. You kept going to work. Listen, I get it. But we're not pissing match contest anymore from 40 years ago who was tougher. We know they didn't play with helmets. Look what happened. There's no need to have a steel pole obstructing football play. It's got nothing to do with the game. It's a big piece of pipe that kickers can't even kick. Brett Lowther can't even kick through it from the front of the end zone. How's he going to do it if it's put that far back?
Okay, so how are you going to – so there you go. You're moving the post to the back. So let's talk the logic of this, and then I'll let you go. Let's talk the commissioner logic. By the way, Ty brings up a really good point, which is hilarious, because all those TSN dudes are shills. You talk liberal government, if we want to go down to the political game, MSM, the mainstream media, which I was embarrassed now to be a part of, actually, to be quite honest with you, they just spread messages, whether it's COVID, whether it's vaccines, whether it's this, and if you say something opposite of what they say, you're a wingnut, you're a traditionalist, you're a nut job, you got a tinfoil hat, it's all a bunch of bullshit, just to try to tamp you down. So, we got the TSN guys today, and it's true, I heard it a couple of times in a couple different broadcasts. Oh, if the new rules, that wouldn't be allowed. Or this one, they're saying, I even heard Glenn Suter say this, we couldn't get the shot because of the goalposts in the way. Glenn Suter's never said that a day in his life till today. It's almost like TSN said, hey, you guys really got to push the narrative that we need to move the goalposts. The commissioner says, these are his stats, okay? The commissioner says, we're going to get 60 more touchdowns a year because of the middle of the field. Okay, 81 games, that averages to a third of a touchdown a game, which gives us 4.4-ish points a game. That's what we're going to get. But we're going to take off 2 makeable field goals at least a game. Not to mention the Rouges that will be replaced by touchbacks, which, by the way, a very exciting play in the NFL, the touchback. Well, I think we can both agree the touchback is spectacular. Like, that is the greatest play. So
hey, I'm not discounting that, Ballsy.
Just wait, Sheldon. 1.6 points. On average, we're going to be down 1.6 points to probably 3 points a game because we want touchdowns, we don't want field goals. And we always compare ourselves to the NFL. The NFL lets the kickers take the balls home. They let them doctor the balls all week and bring them to the stadium, which they never used to do, and they use K-balls in the game. And that's why guys like the Cowboys kicker can kick it 64, 68 yards in a game because, A, the NFL wants field goals because they want points, and that doctoring the ball lets it go 8 to 12 yards. Today there were a couple of kicks that I think the Edmonton cinching kick, when we thought it was the cinching kick, it was a 40-yarder. That would have been a 60-yard field goal in the new CFL. Do we want points or we don't want points, Sheldon?
Hey, I'm all for points. I'm all for making the game more exciting, okay? I just have a real ethical and moral dilemma with rewarding people for screwing up and winning championships for screwing up. And here's my biggest thing. You talked about it's a war of the line. You're right, Ballsy. It's a war of the line of scrimmage, but we're not playing rugby. We're not playing rugby. We have a passing game here. It's a football game. Okay, I understand it's a war of the line of scrimmage, but I don't believe in rewarding people with 8th-place trophies. If my kid goes and runs the marathon and he doesn't finish, you think I'm going to sit there with a cup of orange juice and say, great job, son, here's your sash? Bullshit. Finish the race. Finish the fucking race. I'm not even saying this as a joke, Ballsy. I'm being real. I don't believe in rewarding people. And this soft-ass society that we've grown accustomed to in Canada, with the Liberals out east, everybody's so soft and cushy. It's the very core of me, Ballsy. I can't say, good job, kicker. You almost made it. But, hey, here's a great cup ring. Like, give me a break. I can't do it, Ballsy. I want the Rouge out. I get the point. Listen, I'll finish on. I get the point. With the goalpost, we can disagree on that, whatever.
But but let me bring this up. But let me bring this up before.
Listen, Ballsy. I'm against shrinking the field. Because the way I look at it, it's like Canadian beer, 6%. It's not that American piss warm water, 5%. It's our own little twist on the game. I like the bigger field. I like the bigger balls. I like the bigger end zones. I'm all about points and authenticity. But when it comes to the Rouge, at the very core of me, it hurts. Okay. Because I don't reward stupidity and I don't reward failure.
Okay, so you know what? Like two good guys who were having that Canadian beer and arguing, but are still buddies because in today it's divided. If I had to relent and give a little and take a little, I'd go with you. I'd go with what I said. No Rouge if you can't play it, or no Rouge inside of 3 minutes, so we don't screw with it. Okay, that's how I would do it. But here's where I want to get. You're a Canadian. You're a passionate guy. That's why I love talking to you, whether we agree or not 100%. I think I'll put on my right wing tinfoil hat here. I've said this all along. Why was this rushed, Sheldon? It was rushed by the commissioner. Do you think about this for a minute? Think about this. He told people that he used 3 months of data to flush an entire history of the league down the toilet. For what? For 100 yards and 15-yard end zones on 3 months of data. That's number one. What big business uses 3 months of data? And if you're using CFL data, it's probably not right because the fucking stats haven't worked since Jesus was a fucking carpenter. So why are we listening to this guy?
I'm not saying this guy is right or he doesn't have ulterior motives, okay? And by the way, as far as the tinfoil hat goes, I'm a conservative myself, too. I belong out here in Saskatchewan with the rest of the farmers.
Yeah.
But listen, I don't buy what he's selling. I think there's probably an ulterior motive. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably what you're getting at. There's probably some sort of way they talked about, expanding the game, growing the game. Yeah. We've talked. I don't think that Canada specifically has the population density anywhere to grow another team. I just don't.
You're right.
Okay? You can convince me otherwise, but the people,
you're right.
Large in part, the people that are coming to our land, our country, the foreigners that are coming in and whatnot, they don't care as much about Canadian football. They're more, there's a lot of other sports that they enjoy more. I'm saying we're not growing as a society, as a population that's already here, big enough to support another team. Okay, so is there possible U.S. expansion? Maybe you could enlighten me on that one. I don't have the inside scoop, but I'm not buying what this commissioner is saying. At the end of the day, Ballsy, I respect you because you give a shit. We can disagree on points back and forth as long as there's that mutual respect. You know that I come stats ready, stat prepared all the time, and I come with fire. You got to respect it.
I love you. Hey, I love you, man. You are the people's champ. I'm not taking that mantle, but I'm going to ask you before I let you go. Would you support, because I do think they need to expand, and I agree 100% with you. Get rid of this Halifax bullshit and the Victoria pipe dream, too. It's not happening. We don't have an appetite here for spending money on sports in Canada, as you would say, the liberal mentality. So they probably do have to go to the States, okay? But they're not going to be able to. I've done a deep dive on this because I am passionate. I've looked at this, and there are only 2 MLS stadiums that I've found so far, and 1 UFL stadium. That stadium's in Arlington, Texas, the old Rangers Stadium, and the MLS stadiums are in Utah and Colorado. Those would be the only ones that might fit the field dimensions they're talking about, that they're trying to sell everybody on, 65 yards wide and all that stuff. So if we played, so here's my question, Sheldon. We go American field, a true American field, which I think is what we're going to end up doing, and we go, I don't know, we have to, can we keep 3 downs? I don't know. At what point are you like, I'm out, this isn't a Canadian game, I guess is what I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, that's a loaded question, my friend. That's a loaded question. And, I'm not saying one way or the other. Maybe they already have some sort of backdoor deal, whereas if we can change the field sizing within a year or two, would you guys be able to come in and build a team? Very well could be out there, but again, you got the tinfoil hat on. Yeah. At what point does it stop becoming Canadian for me? I mean, it's a Canadian league, Canadian teams. I always say in business, if you're not growing, you're dying. Yep. It's a fact. If you're not growing the game, you're dying. And growth can come at a stagnant level where you're just growing your fan base, not the teams. But when you start losing teams, when does it stop becoming Canadian? Probably if they got rid of 3 downs. I think 3 downs is our biggest thing. It's 3 down football. You go to 4 down football, we're not playing the Canadian game anymore. You want to adjust the rouge, you want to adjust the post, the size of the field, the width here and tinker there, whatever. The moment you take away 3 down football, to me, it's no longer Canadian.
Okay, that's a good way to end it. Man, I appreciate it. Congratulations on your growing family, and I appreciate hearing from you again. I hope I hear from you again before the end of the year. You only seem to call in, though, when the team loses. So let's see the happy Sheldon maybe when they win.
You know what? I'm happy that I'm only calling in when they're losing. It hasn't been a lot this year. And at the end of the day, it keeps the wife off me. Tonight she made me go to the garage. I moved, Ballsy. I moved from the car to the garage. I got promoted.
That is hilarious, buddy. I love it. Take care, man. See you, Sheldon. That's good, man.
Okay, buddy. We'll chat again soon.
Take care. Appreciate it. Good. I love Sheldon. Hey, that's our first caller out of the block, but why don't you give us a call? 306-992-4955. The Riders lose tonight to the Edmonton Elkamos, 27-25. We will be pleased to take more of your calls. We'll get to some of our features as well. First up, the takeout of the game, which is brought to you by Italian Star Deli. Remember to like and share this show, too. The Italian Star Deli, providing Regina and area with quality specialty products since 1966. When you visit the Italian Star Deli, you're truly part of the family. So drop by any time and they'll help you find whatever your heart and palate may desire. Whether you're looking for olive oil, specialty meats and cheeses, pasta, sea salt, vinegar, canned tomatoes, or one of their mouth-watering famous sandwiches. You're sure to find it and so much more at the Italian Star Deli, 1631 Victoria Avenue, Regina. And welcome back to the show. Got off the great start with the champ, the people's champ, Sheldon. Love that call. Okay, so let's get to our takeout of the game. And I don't know if there were a lot of hellacious hits in this football game. Couple of solid tackles, but I'm going to go with 54 Tyreek Johnson lined up against Daniel Johnson. A couple of Johnsons, Johnson and Johnson battling on the line of scrimmage. And you want to see bull rushes at their best, you got to watch 54. He was pushing back Daniel Johnson into the quarterback, Trevor Harris, for a couple of quarterback sacks. So that would be our takeout of the game for the Italian star Deli. Thanks to Carlo Giambattista and the gang for getting on board. Just so we're good here, we had the drive of the game next. I don't know if you can juggle that, Leander, or what we got next. But you know what? I'm just going to let you roll it, and then I'll go from there because I can freewheel, I can style, but we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so let's get to some of these chats, too. You can get a hold of us either via phone, 306 992 6955. Spirited call with Sheldon, and I love talking. Ryan Hall was calling the Rams game today against the Manitoba Bisons. They beat the Bisons 30-8. The Huskies continue to hold down first place in Can West by beating Calgary, and it was Alberta beating UBC this week in U Sports football. I don't know what the score is in the Regina Thunder game, though. I'd love to see what that score is. Just give me 1 second here. Trying to keep up. Thunder in Saskatoon to take on the Hilltops. They lost the first meeting of the season, 18-15 here in Regina. So let's just go to the sewer pipe known as X and see what the score is there. Let's see. I don't see a score right now. If you have a score in the Thunder game, give me an update here. Leander's busy working. We're a two-man operation here at Gerhardt Studios. Just hit me up on the chat line, the score in the Thunder Hilltops game at SMS Field. All right, so we got this from Robert Campbell. Robert said, the Bombers looked like the team that went to 5 straight Grey Cups today for the first time this season. Yeah, when Sheldon was saying the two best quarterbacks who have the it factor would be Nathan Rourke and Davis Alexander, he is right. But the guy who holds that mantle is Zach Collaros. The Bombers have been in the Grey Cup every year since he's been the quarterback. Since 2019, they have had an up and down season. He's been out a couple of times. He was back after sitting out a couple of games, and he is the straw that stirs the drink. Threw for over 300 yards, and the Bombers blew out the Hamilton Tiger Cats 40-3 today to improve to 8-7. They're on their bye week, and as they like to say, objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. That would be the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I said it here on the show a couple of weeks ago. It'll be the Riders and the Bombers in the West final, and Montreal and Hamilton in the East final. I don't think a crossover team like BC or Calgary gets it done. I could see Winnipeg getting it done. I know I'm a little biased. I'm not going to lie. I could see Winnipeg getting it done in a crossover. Right now, they're sitting in third place behind Calgary in second because Calgary won the season series with Winnipeg. But I really do see a Riders-Bombers West final with the Riders holding down first place. The question I asked is, are you concerned about your Riders? Trevor Harris hasn't been Trevor Harris earlier in the year. Don't know where the hell he was throwing that 2-point convert ball to tie the game. There must have been a miscommunication with the receiver because he was throwing that to nobody. And up until the last drive in a bit, he did not look very Trevor Harris-like in terms of how he was playing earlier this year. And Brett Lawther continues to struggle from long distance. If you're the Riders and you want a short, makeable field goal, you got to be concerned. Although I will give Lawther credit. They had Joe Couch, a new holder this year, and now Couch is on the practice roster, and they bring Jesse Mirko in, or Mirko, another Aussie punter to punt the ball and hold for him on field goals. Seems when Brett is trying to kick those long field goals, like the 55-yarder or 56-yarder, which is not easy, by the way, he's really bearing down and pushing that ball. So, like I said, I love Brett Lawther. He is a friend of mine. Like the guy. Talk to him off and on throughout the year. It's just he's in his own head right now. The guy's talented. Trevor Harris, talented quarterback. Does he have it to take it over the finish line? He hasn't proven that yet in his career. Lots of completions, lots of accuracy. Can he be a winner? This from Ty. Ty said, and I touched on that. You know what I noticed this past weekend? guys calling the games put a little more emphasis on the goalpost. Goalpost in our view, almost like they were told to do it. I did notice that as well. And I was shocked today when Glenn Suter mentioned it because Glenn doesn't usually bring that up. Although Glenn did bring this up, and I thought this was very interesting from Glenn Suter, and I agree with him. Don't mess with the timing rules in the Canadian Football League. That game, when I was driving here from White City to Gerhardt Studios in McCarra Street, I'm like, okay, well, this game's over. But I should know better. 2 minutes left. Harris gets him in for a touchdown. They get the ball back after the Elkimos kicked a field goal to stretch it to 27-19. Harris gets him down the field again, maybe from column A where he's playing better towards the end of the game, and column B where the Elkimos are just trying to hold on and not lose another walk-off game. But that game's not over. Now, if you have a 35-second play clock, as I see it, unless I'm wrong, it's going to be like this. Ouellette gets the ball. He gets tackled at the 38-yard line, 2-yard gain, and then they start the play clock, not the game clock. But if you instruct your team to get to the line of scrimmage right away and they set the ball, then that game clock starts once it's blown in, and you could be standing there 28 seconds. It'll chew off some more time. Or who's to say you can't take 3 knees quickly and they reset the ball? So there's a $1:30 to go. You return the kick. You got the ball with a $1:30 to go. The other team doesn't have a timeout, and you take 3 knees. The game's over. They can't stop the clock. In this CFL, you can't do that. You got to kick it away, and they'll get the ball back with 18 seconds. That'll be very interesting to see what they do. I hope they add a timeout. Or how about this? We actually fix rules that are dumb right now. Like right now, if you don't use your timeout before the 3-minute warning, you only get 2 a game, not 2 a half, 2 a game. So, and I'm okay with that, but the last 3 minutes of the game, if you don't use the timeout before the 3 minutes expires or before it gets to the 3-minute warning, then you automatically lose a timeout. What? Coaches are becoming wise to this now, and they are using that timeout. I saw Dinwiddie did it last night in that Toronto BC game, using it before the 3-minute warning runs out. So yeah, that's something I'd like to see addressed for sure. And you got to see how that's going to go. I do like the benches being on opposite sides. I don't like the Rouge being eliminated. If I had to, because we're all concerned that the Grey Cup's going to end on a Rouge and will be the laughing stock of whatever. And the play they always cite is from a couple years ago when Haralahu kicks a field goal against the Riders and it goes wide, and that's how it ends the game. But if you watch the replay, and I retweeted it at Ballsy Uncut and at The Real Ballsy this week, it actually, from a couple years ago, was a good field goal. It just went over top of the post at the end, and it was called wrong on the field. Now, we want to speed everything up because the refs don't do a good enough job. It takes a long time for them to set the play and everything like that. It's not a true 20-second play clock. That's very true. It's not. But we're so concerned about all these other things. We're going to spend all the money to move the posts to the back. We're doing it for a U.S. We're doing it for a U.S. TV contract. That's what we're doing. Because if it was anything else, the TSN TV contract would have been already announced. It would have been announced along with the changes. Right now, as it stands, we've got nowhere to display these great, wonderful changes in the CFL. We got nowhere to display them because we don't have a friggin' TV deal. So where's the TV deal? It's always done 2 years in advance. The last TSN deal was done that way. NFL TV deals for the, NBC, Fox, they're done 2 years out. So you always have that, okay, we know where the games are going to be. Where is it? Why wasn't it done? Now the commissioner, though, because Ballsy Uncut and Peter Diakowski and a few of us, great fans online like Brother Taxo and Fake Leonard, now he's changed himself to Numpty number 1 or whatever. We are flushing out the commissioner because now he's talking. Remember at the start of the year in his big listening tour? At the start of the year, it was, no expansion. We have 2 teams that only made money. We have to make this thing viable with the 9 teams. Now it's on mid-burner now. Now all of a sudden it's the mid-burner. But it's not going to be in Halifax, and it's not going to be out west. It's going to be in the United States of America. Will we be able to keep 3 downs? I'm with Sheldon. You got to keep 3 downs. It's got to be different. They've shown you time and time and time again. They only like the NFL, they only like high school football, and they only like college football when it comes to 4-down football. So it's got to be something different. It's got to be motion. They got to have some motion. You got to have some semblance of the rouge. Now, if they're moving the post, it's got to be this either touchback or rouge. That's what it's got to be. Can't be anything other than that, or you're playing American football and it's going to fail, okay? But he who owns the gold owns the rules. So can you get Fox, if it's Fox, and DAZN, who didn't pay any money? They just came on as a promotional streaming feature, which the CFL needs. You're either going to have that or that Mike Rapoli, who is with Body Under Armour and the drinks, special drinks. He's like a billionaire. He's involved with the league now. He wants to expand the league. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Fox also was the only one that tweeted out, the only one that made a story about the CFL changing its rules, not CBS, who broadcasts CFL games. Doesn't that also line up? They also use a 35-second play clock. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but when nobody answers your questions, and when you come up with all these questions and there are no answers, you're not a conspiracy theorist. You're just opinionated, and nobody can shoot down your opinions. But slowly it's coming. So now the commissioner comes out and says 3 downs after he was asked earlier in the week, and he said I wouldn't rule out 4 downs. And apparently a couple of Grey Cups ago, when he was in charge of TSN, he said he was in favor of 4 downs. Now all of a sudden it's 3 downs. And why is that? Because they're peeing on you and telling you it's raining. You got to come to the games. You got to come to the games. You better be at the games. Because it's still Canadian. It's still 65 yards wide. We still have all the motion. We still have the rouge. It's still uniquely Canadian. We still got Canadians playing. Well, think about this. Think about this. I have thought about it. There are only, as I see it right now, 3 stadiums that I could see would fit a CFL field the way they're going to do it in 2027 with 15-yard end zones and 65 yards wide. That's Arlington, Texas, where the Texas Rangers used to play their old stadium. They're in the UFL. They're way south. Do we want to go way south? I think it's called, what the heck was it? I got to make sure I'm right here. Give me a second here. I want to make sure I have this right. It was, hold on. And I'll talk a little more about the game, but let's be honest. What happened this week overshadowed the game. Let's see. Sorry, I got this somewhere in my notes. It's in, here it is. Sandy, Utah, and Commerce City, Colorado. Sandy is a Salt Lake City suburb, and Commerce City is a Denver suburb. Both could fit in the CFL. Now, Denver's not the worst because Colorado Rockies share it with Alberta. They know where, what Canada's all about. You can get to Denver with a direct flight from Regina. So if you want to look at positives, that's the way to go. And I, on this show and in the past, said we need more teams, and the U.S. is where we need it. I said northern border states, North Dakota, Montana, that type of thing. So Colorado, Montana, Oregon, Idaho, they're looking to go into in the UFL. Maybe there's a spot where we could do it where they kind of still know Canada. But I don't see many of these fields fitting the 65 by 15-yard end zones. So if that's the case, are we going to change these fields 3, 4, 5, 6 times? Or I guess it would be 2 times. We're going to change it and then get an American TV deal? No, you're going to do it at once. And it's going to be 2027. But they need you under the illusion that we're still going to be playing true Canadian football with all the rules to come to the games this year and next year so they could pay the bills. Come on, wake up, folks. That's where we're headed here. That's why we have no questions. That's our answers to our questions. That's why it's slowly leaking out that, now expansion's on the horizon. And I found something else out today, not by doing any digging, listening to the Riders pregame show on the radio. And Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation said this right on the radio. And I hadn't heard this. Truthfully, I wasn't at the press conference. I didn't ask to join it. I don't think you could join it via Zoom. I was flying back from Ottawa where I watched the Bombers and the Red Blacks. Justin Dunk said, the commissioner said he used 3 months of data. They used 3 months of data to come up with these changes. Would Apple change everything in 3 months of data? Would the NFL change a good chunk of their rules with 3 months of data? The NHL, NBA, any of these leagues, any big corporation? Would Kentucky Fried Chicken use 3 months of data to say, you know what, let's just get rid of the Colonel Secret. Like it's old, it's outdated. Let's go with Popeyes. Would they do that in 3 months of data? Would they do that? No. It's because he needs to show everybody where he's trying to get the TV deal and get it going. And he also said because he's excited. He's excited. Okay, like I said on Ballsy Uncut, I'm excited too. You know what? I'm excited. I'm thinking about my girlfriend. I think I'll go make love to her. You know what? I'm just going to go to Face First Medical Aesthetics, and I'm going to walk into her room while she's injecting somebody and say, hey, honey, let's make love right here on the chair. Sorry, just sit there in the corner, honey. It's patient. It's time for us to get at it because I'm really excited. What? That's just ridiculous. But the other thing Justin Dunk said, which I found really interesting, and he said it. It's not rumors. It's not, hey, hear what I hear? Justin Dunk said this. He was told of the changes Sunday morning by the commissioner, and he was told to stay quiet and not tell anybody. First of all, why would he say that now? It doesn't really it's not a good look. But why are we telling a 3 Down Nation reporter the secrets, but you didn't tell junior football till 15 minutes before the press conference? You didn't tell U Sports till about 45 minutes before the press conference. You didn't tell Football Saskatchewan till about 9 minutes before the press conference, but you're going to tell Justin Dunk a whole day before. What in the bloody hell are we doing? You just screwed over your football partners in Canada. How can you do that? How can you do that? Who's paying for this? Who's paying for this? How are we paying for this? How is it going to make us more money? How's it going to get younger viewers? Are people going to flock because the benches are across from each other? Like did 35,000 show up today in Edmonton because they thought, oh, this is a stadium with benches on opposite sides? Or are they going to come for the 35-second play clock? Really? Really? We moved the goalpost to the back. Holy cow. Whole bunch of 18-year-olds are going to show up. Because you know what the next thing is going to happen? We're going to change it to America. And it's not modernization. It's Americanization. Okay? We're going to do that, and then they're going to say, well, why would I watch crappy CFL American football when I can watch not my words, their words. Why would I watch the crappy Canadian version of American football when I can watch the NFL, when I can watch NCAA? Like, you just had something that was unique. I'm in the podcasting world. There are millions of I don't even know how many podcasts there are, but there are so many of them. Most of them don't make it past their 10th episode. So, hey, congratulations. We did that at least. Yeah. You got to be unique. You got to be different. You're going to tell me that game wasn't exciting? That game was exciting. This is the last I'll say on this. It's never, ever, 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 ever been the game. The NFL's taken the point after from us for 32 yards. They've taken the RPO, and we used to get the Kyler Murrays and the Bears quarterback, Caleb Williams. We used to get those guys, but we don't get them anymore because they stay there. They're into those type of quarterbacks now. We used to get the Doug Flutys, the Jeff Garcias. We don't get them anymore. So come on. It isn't about, let's just call it like we see it. They're looking to go to America. Tell us you have to go to America, and this is why we have to go to America. But it's never been the game. It's been the marketing. It's been the messaging. It's been the give a shit factor by TSN. You know, we shouldn't be shocked that the commissioner doesn't really love the CFL as much as he says he does. And he doesn't. Because he was running TSN when they only had 2 rounds of the CFL draft on TV, and then you had to go look on streaming. He ran TSN when we couldn't even get the combine streamed anymore. They did it for a bit, and then they're just like, nah, we won't do it. Well, there's no money in it, Ballsy. There's no money in it. Well, there was no money in the NFL either. Remember the day when the people used to come to the CFL and play ahead of the NFL? Okay? Yeah, call me an old guy. Call me a guy that likes to yell at clouds. It wasn't always this way, okay, in the NFL. Watch the 30 for 30, Elway to Marino. 1983 draft. They're in a little Queensberry Center ballroom with their little New England Patriots, almost like it was colored. New England Patriots, and then you had Pete Rozelle with the 23rd pick in the NFL draft. The Miami Dolphins select Dan Marino, and that was what it was. That's what it was. And now 500,000 show up in Green Bay. Can't even get a hotel room in Milwaukee or who knows where. Okay, so you have to start somewhere, but we shouldn't be shocked that he's not into fixing here. And I'll use this last analogy because I did online. And here's where I'm getting at, okay? You like to drink and you like to drink and you don't come home. And you wonder why your significant other, your wife's pissed off, okay? She's mad and the relationship's in the dumps and it's not working and it looks like it's headed for disaster. And so instead of not drinking and maybe getting some help and coming home and not hanging out like you're a young teenager anymore, instead of that, what you do is you go buy a new house or you refurbish your house and make her a reading room or you guys do that instead of fixing the problems. So we're going to do all this. We're going to move the goalposts and we're going to move the goalposts and we're going to get rid of the rouge, and we're going to do this. Okay. Now, here's the equivalent of drinking and not coming home for the CFL. One happened tonight. One happened right there tonight in the game that cost the Riders the game. The referees. I thought going into this year, or even last year, they were told to let the play continue, and then we'll look at it. Okay? I don't even root for the Riders anymore. And I'm big enough to say, what the fuck was that? They punch the ball out on Keon Julian Grant, scoop it up for a touchdown with Onyeka, and they blow the play dead. Yes, Corey Mace with a great challenge. He's been good at those. They get the ball, but they don't get the touchdown because they blew it dead. And we're worried about changing rules, but not fixing things that are broken. That's drinking. You know what's not coming home? Here's what's not coming home in my analogy, okay? The CFL media socials, every time, without fail, it's week after week after week after week. Last week, I was in Ottawa to watch not a very good football quarterbacking performance passing the ball by Chris Streveler. That's undeniable. That was awful. He showed that he was a great athlete and a great leader, put his body on the line, did it so again today with 3 rushing touchdowns. But it was a pitiful quarterbacking performance, okay? So bad that Nick Dembski's catch streak ended at 84 games. Last week, a CFL game in our nation's capital. Well, Dembski catches a little shovel pass. No, it was a 2nd and 1 play. Streveler fakes it, rolls out and throws it in the short yardage, and Dembski gets a 35-yard run down the sidelines, pushed out of bounds, and CFL socials put out, and the streak continues. It ended last week. It's not Michael Ball, who can and does, making a mistake on social media. It is the Canadian Football League's social media team again. Just like a few weeks ago when Saskatchewan's own Riley Pickett scored his first ever touchdown for the Lions as a fullback. Wrong. It was a 2-point convert. But that was on a social media site. So once again, the refs blowing it dead when they shouldn't have blown it dead, when they were instructed, let it go through. That's the drinking. The social media, example of not coming home. Those are two problems we don't address year after year. But let's go change other rules. I give up. I need a drink. I'll be back. We're going to take a break. Ward Tire Craft Regina, proud to be the last of the small town style tire and automotive shops in the city, prioritizing the happiness of their customers and the safety of their vehicles. They've had some of the same customers for over 40 years, including yours truly, which is why I asked them to come on board as a sponsor for my shows. For all your tire and mechanical needs, go see Michael Barth and his crew at 101 Dudney Avenue. Tell them Ballsy sent you, and you get 10% off. Welcome back. Okay, the drive of the game was a great drive by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Let's get back to talking to about some Canadian football. We got a caller here, too. Drive of the game for Ward Tirecraft. Third quarter, 11 plays, 108 yards, 5:40 off the clock. A.J. Ouellette with a stud run. And as Sheldon opened the show with the great caller, Sheldon, People's Champ, they do everything. In Winnipeg, the success is Brady Oliveira. It goes through Brady Oliveira. I think the Riders need that same recipe with A.J. Ouellette. So that's my drive of the game. Let's get to the phone calls. You want to call in? 306 992-6955. Let's go to the phone call, and I think this is Wade calling. Is this Wade?
No, Ward.
Ward, sorry, Ward. Go ahead, Ward. What do you got, man?
Well, can the CFL survive without a TV deal? Is that where this is? Does TSN not have any interest anymore in paying because there's nobody else to pay, right? Is there anybody else to pay, right, in Canada? No.
Mm-hmm.
So with them out, say they were out,
yep.
Say they don't want to pay, say they give 10 cents on the dollar because there's nobody to push them to pay, how much money comes from them in a gate-driven league?
Well, Ward, that's a very good point. I'll let you continue to talk, but that is a very good point. Thank you for kind of being a co-host light for me because you jogged my memory. You're right, and let's connect the dots here. Stuart Johnston does know TV. Stuart Johnston was hired to get a TV deal. Let's make no mistake, and some sort of TV and streaming deal. So let's be honest with that. And he knows the type of money TSN has, doesn't have, is willing to spend. There were rumors out there Bell was going to dump TSN and sell it. They denied that, but I think Stuart Johnston knows they don't have a lot of money, so he knows they're not going to be able to give as much as they did last time, which was about $50 million plus a season, which equaled to just over $506 million a team, which has basically bankrolled the league. Now, and listen, I can be critical of TSN, but if not for TSN, we would not be talking right now on the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show. This league would have long been done, okay? So TSN gets a tip of the hat. But you're right, Ward. They need money from somewhere else. Rogers Sportsnet isn't doing it. The CBC should do it because Mark Carney, elbows up, Canada this, Canada that. That's all bullshit. But they should. CBC should absolutely broadcast one CFL game a week minimum and one U Sports or junior game a week somewhere in Canada, but they don't. That is Canadiana as it gets. Your taxpayers' dollar, my taxpayers' dollar goes to the CBC, and the money should go there, but they won't because nobody pushes the envelope, and there's nobody to care about the Canadian Football League. We lack passion. So you're right. Where do they get the money? They got to go to the States. Now the key is, Ward, can we save some of our game?
Do we know how good a relationship Stuart Johnson has with his past employer, even at that?
I don't know.
Maybe exactly. Maybe they've made a blunder here with Stuart Johnson.
Well, I mean, it's still early to say if they've made a total and complete blunder, but I think he has blundered this. Like, he absolutely blundered this. You don't tell your partners. You don't ask. Why didn't he ask any of his coaches, players, or anything for their insight? A, because they would have told him he's dumb, and they don't want people that want to make decisions don't want to hear generally any input. The smart ones do, but most of the business owners in today's day and age, they don't want. They already have their mind made up. You're the employee. Just shut up and do what I say. And why would they need Mike O'Shea, Bob Dice, these kind of guys to ask them their questions and their opinions? Because I don't care. We're going American rules. That's how I feel. And you know what? I'm entitled to my opinion, and I'm entitled to say what I'm going to say without being called a fearmonger, because guess what, Ward? That was the worst Q&A in the history of professional sports, including WWE and AEW made-up post-game show, post-wrestling show stuff. There was no questions asked of Stuart Johnston. Nobody asked him tough questions. Zero people, and he won't come on this podcast to get any tough questions.
But we have to admit though that being commissioner of the CFL has got to be one hell of a job, right? Because you've got these 8 teams, right? There's 2 of them make a bit of money. One of them hates you in MLSE.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even. I don't know how they even got stuck with a team. Well, I don't even know why they're part of the league. They hate the CFL, right? They'd like to see the CFL sunk, right?
So why? So there you go. So there you go. Why are they in the CFL then? Why aren't they?
I don't know.
If it's so crappy,
because
go ahead.
The reason why they're in the CFL is because it was the thing to do. All the NHL teams started buying CFL teams, right? The Flames bought Calgary and this and that, right? So they jumped on. At the time there was no money, no appetite for anybody to buy in Toronto. And they're cashed up beyond belief, and I think what happened was they wanted the NFL, they wanted the Bills deal the first time, and they thought they could charge anything they wanted for Bills tickets, right? But they had to make it seem like they weren't sinking the CFL, so they bought the team and said, "We'll always protect the team, but we're bringing in this Bills deal, but we're keeping the CFL. We're keeping the CFL." You remember that? You were there at the time. We're keeping the CFL. Everything will be fine. But then the Bills thing flopped because Toronto, they don't want the CFL. They don't want the NFL as the Bills either. They want their own NFL team, and the NFL doesn't want them and never will.
Well, they can't afford it. They can't afford it. The fees, the new stadium, the stadium would be 14 billion.
But the average Toronto person thinks they're too good for the CFL. And thinks they should have the NFL in Toronto. Right?
Hey Ward, let me ask you about this game. What do you think of the Rider game? How do you think they're doing down the stretch here? A couple of tough games in a row here, losing to Edmonton. Give the Elks credit; they kept their playoff hopes alive.
They had to win for Larry.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah.
And the refs kind of. I mean, it's like the old days before the replay. We'd like to complain about we'd like to complain about 3 plays where it would have gone our way, right? Well, this game, it was the fumble, and they should. Why are they blowing it? Why are they blowing it down? Let the play develop. We have the replay. If you're wrong on the field, call it back. But that was a touchdown. Everybody was still playing. There was no whistle. Everybody was still playing.
Well, when the whistle blows, it's automatically blowing dead.
Unfortunately, we do need some of those kicks. We need some of those kicks.
Mm-hmm.
I know we all love Law. We love him fine. He's your friend. We love him and everything. But geez, he can't come on and do an interview and say, I don't care. I only care about my family. I don't care. You can't come on and say you don't care about your job. I can't come on and say I don't care about pulling wires because I'm a new father or what. You just can't do that. You got to make it seem like you care about us buying the tickets and going to the game a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, Ward, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Okay. Take care, man. Appreciate you following the show too. Thanks, man. Oh, nice comment from Daniel Sinclair. This guy looks like Bubbles if he smoked crack. Thanks. I appreciate that. Hey, Bubbles is a pretty popular guy. Like to see a picture of you, Daniel. Let's always stay classy. It's nice being classy. Good job. Good job. Hey, Charles says, Elks just scraped by, but it was a great game. Ty says, hired for change. Yeah, change is good, Ty. I'm assuming he's talking about Commissioner Johnston. Change is good if it's good change. Like, hey, I love them moving the PAT back to 32 yards, made a nothing play something. So absolutely. I'm all for that, but this doesn't make any sense to me. We're going to take another break. Still taking your calls. 306-992-6955. Riders lose to Edmonton 27-25 on a failed 2-point convert. Trevor Harris throwing it to, I don't know, Vegreville. This is the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show. At JLB Electric, their mission is to provide top-quality residential and commercial electrical services in Regina and surrounding area. They're committed to delivering efficient, reliable, and affordable electrical solutions, including new construction wiring, renovations, service upgrades, and 24-hour emergency assistance. Their team of licensed electricians ensures exceptional service from start to finish. They prioritize safety, customer satisfaction, and expert workmanship. As Regina's trusted one-stop shop for electrical contracting, they are dedicated to powering our community with excellence. All right, JLB lit play of the game. I had it initially as a Joe's strip on Logan after he picked off Trevor Harris. Harris threw 2 interceptions in the same series. Well, 2 different series, but they got the ball right back. Like, he throws it, it's picked off. Logan gets stripped by a Joe who doesn't stop on the play. So that's the honorable mention. But the lit play of the game was that run by Rankin. Little jump cut 37-yarder in the fourth quarter that really swung the game in Edmonton's favor. Great block by Carter O'Donnell, former U of A Golden Bear, who was in the NFL with the Colts and Arizona for the last 3 years, now comes back to Edmonton. Local guy, makes a couple of big blocks in the game. So that was the lit play of the game for JLB Electric. Remember, the way we continue to keep our game alive and keep promoting our game, and not here, but in the grassroots level too, is by supporting a show like this. And you do that by liking and sharing this show, the Our Balls Are Bigger postgame show, and the 3-time-a-week Ballsy Uncut. We talk all local sports, but we are dedicated to football because it is the sport that is, after this week, under attack in our country, and we need to stand up for it and not just poo-poo it. Let's take another break. Payson Insurance specializes in helping hard-to-insure people get coverage. They also offer a range of financial management and investment services to help secure your future. People care most about their money and their family. I personally trust Kevin. Best way to describe dealing with him are the 3 C's. He's comfortable to deal with, he cares about your future, and he's confident in helping you make the right financial decisions. Payson Insurance. Give them a call, 306-596-0244. All right, welcome back to the show. Steven says on the radio they were saying why the fumble didn't count. I know why the fumble didn't count. You don't have to go anywhere, Steven. The fumble didn't count. The touchdown didn't count because the play was blown dead. When the play's blown, when there's a whistle, they give them the ball because it was a clear fumble, but they whistled the play dead, so the rest of the play didn't happen. That's why they are saying to you, or that's why they said we let them play it out. Like, if there's a fumble and they scoop it up, let them run to the end zone, and then we'll see, instead of blowing the play dead. Many times in the past, you'd see the ball easily be scooped up, go for a touchdown, but it was whistled down, and instead of getting the touchdown, you get the ball back at the 25. That's what happened to the Riders, and those were costly points. That's 4 points. They ended up with a field goal on that drive instead of the touchdown. Riders would be, even though they probably didn't deserve it totally, they would have 11 wins instead of 10 because the refs screwed that up. That's why it was. So you don't have to go anywhere. This is where you get the rules. This is where you get everything. That is the truth, okay? All right, For Kevin Payson Insurance Services, on the money play. Trevor Harris had a few good passes in this game, but I'm going with Cody Fajardo to Keon Julian Grant. At the end of the half, it's 4-0, and he throws that kind of skinny corner down the hash marks towards the broadcast side, the Elkamo side of the field. Kind of gears down and makes the catch. Shields DeMarcus Fields away from the ball. Fields had an up and down game, got burned a couple of times, made a couple of plays. He's the one that punched the ball out that should have been a touchdown. He was also in on a tackle in the backfield, but he was covering on the play, and a great job by Keon Julian Grant. Good pass by Cody Fajardo. First time he's beaten the Riders since leaving Saskatchewan. Okay? Anyway, that is the on-the-money play of the game for Payson Insurance Services. Let's go. Can we roll some of those chats back? I want to see if I can keep up here. Okay, let's go here. Yeah, never mind. Too many. We can look at them later. You can go weed through all those. Very good. Let's see. Steven, you don't think the CFL game is under attack? You honestly don't think the CFL game's under attack. You don't think the Canadian game is under attack. They just changed. They're going to change your field to 100 yards and posts at the back. Get rid of the center field. Next, it'll be Canadians. They can't get rid of Canadians totally because of the legal ramifications with having a union. And if you operate out of the same stadium in a new league, you can't just disband your ratio. But you're going to get more fake Canadians, more designated Americans, more, my grandpa stepped foot in Canada for 15 minutes and lost his wallet and had to come back, and he got his wallet while the CFL was still around, so therefore I'm a Canadian. There's going to be a bunch of that. Or they'll reduce the starters, or they will just say there are no starting Canadians. They are coming after Canadians because they did before in the last CBA, because I was the voice of the Riders in 2022, my first year, and we had a walkout in training camp because the Canadians were pissed because they tried to cut Canadians. They actually did reduce Canadian starters, kept the same amount of Canadians, but reduced Canadian starters from 10 to 7. Don't think it won't go from 7 to 4. Do Canadians matter to you in the Canadian Football League? They do to me. They do to me. Now, you could say, oh, he's bragging, but my family and I just spent $4,000 buying 30 jerseys at the Bomber store. I see a lot of Picton jerseys. I see Campbell jerseys, Canadian. I see Lacombo jerseys. I see A.J. Allen jerseys now. John Ryan was one of the highest selling jerseys when he was here. Still Getzlaff jerseys. A lot of Canadians. Don't poo-poo the Canadians in the Canadian Football League. By the way, got an update, 7 minutes to go. It's 17-14, Regina Thunder leading the Saskatoon Hilltops. Good Slobberknocker Prairie battle. Yeah, where are those guys going to play? Where are our Canadians going to play now, coming up? So they're not going to play the rules. The first time they'll play the Canadian professional football rules in the new Canadian Football League will be in the CFL. And does the city of Regina own Mosaic Stadium, or do the Riders own Mosaic Stadium? The Riders own Mosaic Stadium, or the city of Regina? Come on now. It's everybody's stadium. It's not just the Riders stadium. Jerry Jones don't own the Rough Riders, okay? It is a community-owned team and a community-owned stadium. Thunder play there once a year so they can get $40,000 worth of extra revenue with the Hilltops. Are they supposed to play on Leibel Field 3 different? Rules for 3 games and then 1 different game? Is SMF change their field or not? In Saskatoon, who's paying for those changes? Nobody asked these questions. Come on now. You really want to get rid of the best Canadian. You want to get rid of Canadian players. Okay. Stephen, in my opinion, that's not being a Canadian. So I'm sorry. The Canadians are part of the Canadian fabric. And I'd say that if Ethan Ball wasn't in the league. I'm the voice of the Regina Thunder. You need Canadians in the Canadian Football League. If you don't have Canadians in the Canadian Football League and you go to America and you change the rules, there'll be nobody left here watching the games. Yeah, you'll have people watching, but it will be, and not just because of Canadians. If they go to the States and expand and they keep it 3 downs, it'll be 11 men, so they'll drop a man because they won't play 12 on a U.S. field. And like I said, they won't be able to fit their field on many fields. It's coming, folks. It's coming. So enjoy what we got here, okay? We're going to take a break. Waldo's Warriors, and then we'll wrap the show up. Waldo's Warriors, appropriately named after Paul Waldo, the local football legend, played for the Thunder, played for the Huskies, 3-time Grey Cup champ, and still coaching the Stars of Tomorrow today with the U of S Huskies. Well, now he's taken his talents to the real estate game with the Home Expert Team on Vic Avenue East. If you want to get in the real estate game with the 3-time Grey Cup champ, give Paul and his team a call, 306-502-5355. 27-25, the Rough Riders lose to the Edmonton Elks for the first time this year. They've lost 2 in a row. By the way, here's the other thing. Be careful what you do. Be careful how you change things because you turn people off. Exhibit A, the Edmonton Eskimos. The Edmonton Eskimos changed their name, and it's kind of funny. They're doing everything but changing their name back. Did you see the truck they drove around in Larry's honor today? Larry Thompson, their owner's honor. They got the Eskimo, the polar bear, Eskimos, on the truck after they score a touchdown, throwing stuff into the crowd, and it says right on it, Edmonton Eskimos. It says right on the truck, Edmonton Eskimos. So everything is telling you they want to go back to the Edmonton Eskimos, but they're not. If they went back to the Eskimos name, they'd have 5,000 more fans every game. They would. They'd have 5,000. They're talking about their history and all this stuff. They were forced to change that name by a couple of, and it wasn't even Inuit people, so I'm told. It was the cancel culture type of thing that forced them into it. So very interesting. Just rip the Band-Aid off. So that's the cautionary tale to the CFL. Careful how much you change because you can't go back. And as Wally Buono told me on this show, my very first one, when you change one rule, then you have to change another rule. Then you have to change another rule. When do you stop? When do you stop? I know what you don't do. You don't change rules with 3 months of data. And you don't do it without consulting your amateur partners or even the dudes that are playing in your league or coaching in your league. Okay, Waldo's Warriors, a great Canadian who won 3 Grey Cups and is selling real estate in town with the Home Expert Team on Victoria Avenue. Give him a call, 306-502-5355. On offense for the Riders, A.J. Ouellette surpasses 100 in this game, and for the second time in his career, 1,000. Kudos to him. I thought he was done after this year, thought his hips were shot, but he goes down in weight, shows great athleticism while retaining his toughness, and he's been able to stay healthy for most of the year. A.J. Ouellette is the Waldo's Warrior on offense. On defense, Habu Baldonado, the Italian global player, in place of Shane Ray, who was hurt with a foot injury, had a sack and 3 tackles today. So he is our defensive player of the game, Waldo's Warrior. And our Waldo's Warrior on special teams, Sean Bain Jr. Bain returns to the football field in a game capacity for the first time in over a year. Saw him a little bit at receiver, but saw him mostly as a kick returner, replacing the injured Mario Alford. Got whacked one time at the end of the game, but it's nice to see him back on the field. Friend of mine, and he is a friend of mine, got the Bain's World shirt. So he is the Waldo's Warrior special team for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. For Edmonton, initially I had Keon Julian Grant. Then he had that fumble. I'm going to share it between Justin Rankin, who is their leading running back, leading receiver. The Riders kept them in check. And he busts out for a touchdown at the end of the game. Couple of touchdowns, actually. So I'm going with him. But honorable mention to Carter O'Donnell, who is offensive lineman, local Canadian guy coming home, played in the NFL, and does a great job leading the way on that play. Little pulling guard action from right guard as he cuts outside to the left, scores a touchdown. Brock Mogensen, linebacker replacing Niles Morgan, the tackling machine in the interior. He had an interception, a couple big tackles. He is the Waldo's warrior on defense for Edmonton. And special teams-wise, I'm just going to go with Jake Julian. Nice to see Julian punting, kicking the stuffing out of the ball, tried out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And hey, lo and behold, Randy tried to attack Canadian punters, and he did a great job of it, because until Jake Julian came back to the CFL this year, there were absolutely this many Canadian punters. There's still a couple of Canadian place kickers, like our friend Brett Lothar, even though he's struggling, but there were exactly these many Canadian punters till Julian came on board this year, coming back with Edmonton. So he is my special teams player of the game, the Waldo Warrior there. Once again, our final score, 27-25. The Rough Riders lose to the Edmonton Elkamos. The Thunder, and the Thunder rolls. 24-14, under 3 minutes to go. They lead the Saskatoon Hilltops. They have to win by 4 points to take over first place in the PFC and get all-important home field advantage for the playoffs. Kudos to Scott McCauley and his gang. By the way, Scott really not too happy with these rule changes, like I said. Steve Kleinsasser goes, Ballsy, when you put it that way, I agree with you. Regina owns Mosaic Stadium. City of Regina foots the bill. Then maybe keep the Canadians, but will the game improve with no ratio? I don't know. There's lots of great Canadians. It's not a point of whether it's going to improve or not. We're in Canada. The kids got to have somebody to look up to. The kids got to have somebody to look up to in their communities. And yeah, you can look up to Americans for sure. But how about the kid that grew up and played for the Razorbacks, played for the Riffle Royals or the Campbell Tartans like Jackson Ford, Josh Haggerty, who's playing for the BC Lions, Kieran Poussin, who's playing for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Ryder Varga, played for Labolis, the Rams, playing for the Argos. They need somebody. Who are they going to be? My kid is going to autograph a hat for a kid that's playing minor football because his mom asked me to, because he adopted Ethan as one of his favorite players. He cheers for the Riders, but he likes Ethan on the Bombers. So I bought the kid a hat. Like, that's what we need. That's how you grow the game, okay? That's how you grow the game. I think there should be more Canadians, not less. In fact, I would support an all-pro Canadian football league. I would. I think people would too if it was marketed right. But they've never marketed. They've never messaged. They've never built up any of the players coming up through U Sports and junior football. They don't do it. And that's my last point. Did you watch the broadcast today? I'm done, Leander, after this one. Did you watch the broadcast today? I wrote this down. Bain Jr., an American, and Royce Metier, the safety, the Canadian safety for the Elkamos, went to Kenya and spent time there. They showed him carrying water like the women do. And they're like, I don't even know how they do this stuff. And it was a nice little, quick little 30 to 60 second feature which showed Canadians. I think Enoch Mwamba, one of the great Canadian players in the last 20 years. He won the Outstanding Canadian and Player of the Game at the Grey Cup in 2022 and is cutting his teeth as a panelist on TSN. Of course, I don't like the fact he's pushing this American stuff on TSN, but I think he's been told to. And fairness to them, they're trying to keep their jobs. In fairness, TSN people are trying to keep their jobs. People are hired by the teams now as reporters. There's very few independent reporters, especially in media. Like, yeah, papers, Herb Zurkowski, Jeff Hamilton in Winnipeg, Taylor Shire does an outstanding job here. But for the most part, these guys are all controlled, so nobody asks the tough questions. This is why you come to this type of show. This is why you come to this type of show. Anyway, lost my train of thought. But that's what we need to do. We need to have more Canadians. We need to have more talk. We need to get this dialogue going so that we can get the answers we need, because I don't think we're getting the straight goods here. We're not getting the straight goods. But anyway, back to what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. Bain Jr. and Metier are doing this commercial. Who's following them around with a camera? Did they do a documentary, a feature? That'd be cool. I'd sit down and watch that for a half an hour to an hour. They're in Kenya. looking at, different type of lifestyle. Showing the face behind the helmet. We need more of that. Where is that? That's what the CFL needs. Not moving the goalposts and shrinking the field to become NFL Light or whatever they're planning to do just to get a TV deal. They're going to get a big TV deal. And what do you do when the money runs out? And nobody's watching in Canada because you're going to piss off 3 and get back 1. So you've lost 2. It's going to happen. And it's going to fail in the States unless we somehow can get some deep pockets and make it separate. Can we keep 3 downs? It'll probably go 11 men, so we'll lose a man. That'll probably be a Canadian. You watch. But 3 downs, 11 men, motion. Some of our kicking games still. No fair catches. None of that. The halo. Motion. If we can do that, get some money, then I might be able to stay on board because we got to grow and I don't want to see this thing die. But I, for one, if they get rid of 3 downs, if they force Canadians out, if they make it American, it's going to be dead and I'm out. I don't know about you, but I'm out. I can already watch the NFL in college and Friday Night Lights high school. Anyway, that's going to do it for my time. Thanks to Leander. Thanks to Gary. Oh, we got a phone call. Okay, one more phone call. Let's go to John. Hey, John, what's up, bud?
Hey, Ballsy, how's it going?
Good, man. Hey, you were in the hospital. How's it going?
Not too bad. I tore my rotator cuff, so I just had it repaired on Wednesday.
Doing what, at work or what?
Yeah.
Wow.
And just repetitive. The doctor said just years of wear and tear.
Yeah. Anyway, well, it's interesting, man. Interesting. Hey, I wish you all the best of luck there, man. Great to have you back. You're probably pumped for your Canadians this season, too, in hockey.
Yeah, they're going to be good.
Yeah. Hey, so let's talk football here. First of all, what did you think of the game, John?
Well, I thought it was pretty good, Ballsy. They're getting a little too confident, and they're walking off their heads swelled, and this happens every time they do this, and it never fails what year. And they're reading their press clippings thinking they're better than they are, and they got humbled.
Yeah, they did get humbled, but as a Rider fan, you got to be happy they're stubbing their toe now and not towards, like, in the playoffs, right?
That's right. And, Ballsy, I agree with you about the renewal rules. Mm-hmm. When I heard that, I was pissed off. Mm-hmm. I don't like it. If I want to watch NFL, I'll turn it on Sundays and watch NFL. I've grown up with the goalposts at the front of the end zone and that 150-yard field. I mean, we played high school football against one another. You know that. Mm-hmm. And we're used to this game. And, if this bozo is going to change it, then he better have his resume ready and he can go to the States and stay there.
Well, it's the same script with every commissioner, not just Stuart Johnston. And let me be clear, John. I think we got to give Stuart a little bit of slack in this. He pays for the sins of the past. There's been so many screw-ups. Like Randy Ambrosi was not a great commissioner. Jeffrey Orridge wasn't a great commissioner. The last great commissioner we had was Mark Cohan, but he walked away. And maybe he walked away because, this is the best I can do. I can't deal with, there's private ownership, there's public ownership. These guys can't seem to organize a one-car parade. Maybe that's what he thought. I don't know. I'm putting words in his mouth. But, so you can't blame Stuart Johnston for that, John. And I won't blame him for that. But it's the same script. Jeffrey Orridge, I can't remember what Cohan did. I'd have to think of what Cohan did, although I do remember Cohan being in charge of a league that was prosperous and on the way up. But I think a lot of that had to do with the Rough Riders. That was when Hobson had the Riders going, and they were hot, and ratings were up, and attendance was up because Rider fans travel or move away to other provinces. Like you saw tonight, helped out the Edmonton crowd. But Orridge came in, didn't know much, made that goofy CFL logo. That's all he did. Randy came in, and initially Randy 2.0 or CFL 2.0, was best practices and, streamlining the business side. And it was good for the first little bit. He came in and stepped in on the pass interference challenge thing. I remember sitting in the pregame show saying, hey, I like that. Mid-season, you changed that. Because remember when coaches would challenge on the other side of the field when it wasn't even part of the play? And he said enough's enough. So I like that. But then he started to go to this global crap when the NFL already has the global thing covered. Tomorrow, in Ireland? It's the Steelers up against the Vikings. So they already got that. Spain, they already got that. Like, what are we doing here? We're not going to be the global league. But they come and they bring all these global players, which I don't dislike global players. I don't dislike international players. But you bring them in and you take the John Ryans out of the league. John Ryan got cut because they had to fill a global spot. So you cut a guy that raised $200,000 annually for the Rams program and gave money with the Bob Ryan Scholarship and gave freaking money to RMF at the Mini-Mites. And we cut him. What are we doing?
I agree.
What are we doing?
I agree, Ballsy.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the next thing we're going to go is our ratio. There's going to be no Canadians.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of, and they can't do it right away. They can't they just can't totally get rid of them. But we already have fake Canadians. We got designated Americans. They were here for 4 years and had a cup of coffee, so they get 49% of the snaps. And my mom was born in a bathroom in Bengoff, so I'm a Canadian. Do you know what I mean? It's that type of thing that it's bullshit. Like, that's the stuff that and people are okay with. And I can't believe how many staunch Canadians that I know that are purists that helped build this league, guys that were in the league. I can't believe that they are on board with this. I just can't believe that they're on board with this.
I can't believe it either, Ballsy, because, I agree with you. If they make the changes they are, they're going to lose everybody. Johnson will see it when there's only 3,000 and 4,000 fans in each stadium,
Well,
and they've lost me.
Well, I'll tell you,
I'm not coming back.
I'll tell you, John, I've done some deep, I just don't, people think I just spout off here. I don't. I've done some research, okay? And I hired a guy to help me research this, and he did. I spend my own money to help have a guy do this for me while I'm trying to sell cars at Crestview Chrysler. By the way, you want a car, 601 Albert Street, 526-7979. Come see me. Let's do that. I'll get you in.
My dad worked there, so.
Yeah, but so I'm using that money to help pay my bills and help pay these bills, okay? And so my point was, I got him along with me. We did a deep dive. There's only 3 stadiums right now in the States, and I could see 2 MLS and that Arlington one in the UFL that will fit a Canadian football field with the 15-yard end zones that they're going to move to, and with the 65-yard wide field, with the benches, with the cameras you need to go up the side, with the pop-up tents, with all that stuff, with enough room in the end zones. There's only 3 stadiums right now. So what does that tell you? It tells you either Michael Ball hasn't done enough research, which is possible, or that they're going to go to smaller fields. Otherwise, John, why don't we have a TV deal yet? Like, they make all these changes for what? There's no TV deal in 2027.
That's right.
And
their TV guy is this clown that's this commissioner.
Yeah. Well, like I said, and that's where I was going with this, John. It's the same script. So Orge does this, Ambrosi does the global and all this stuff, and this guy comes in, and he's got a mandate to do something. So he comes in, and this is what he's going to do. And here's how it works. I think Randy got $750 in bonuses. This guy reportedly $1 million and probably 3-4 year deal. So what happens? This guy comes in. If his thing works, he gets to keep his money, and he gets more money. And rightfully so if it works, and keeps his job, and he's got a great legacy. If it doesn't work, he still gets his money, and he leaves, and he gets another job, or he retires to cottage country or whatever, and he gets his money, and then he just spins anybody can spin a narrative. Well, it wasn't me, it was the Board of Governors, and anybody can spin a narrative. So I've loved this league since I was 6, like you, John. We played in high school, like you said. I got flesh and blood in the league, so I'm a little closer to it, granted. And that's why I am fired up, because he, like all these other guys like Ryder, Varga, Justin McInnes, they've worked their ass off to get here. And now all of a sudden, who knows, could be stripped away from them. I'll be very, very interested. Like I said, John, I'm okay with expansion. If they can keep 3 downs, if they can keep motion, if they can keep Canadians in the game, keep our whatever kicking rules left. But I'm skeptical. And I hope U Sports and junior football stay true to the Canadian game. I hope they don't change. It's going to be very interesting. McGill already said they're not sure if they're going to pay. They're not going to pay $2 million. They own that stadium where Montreal plays in. Calgary, UFC owns where the Stamps play. Are they going to pay for it? Be interesting to see. I
agree, Ballsy. And did you hear the other night when Nathan Rourke made his comments, Luke Wilson went off on him on TSN.
Yeah. Nobody,
Yeah,
and
Luke Wilson's an idiot, and he's got a big mouth too.
Yeah. Hey, John, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Take care. Nobody.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, but continued success in your recovery. Nobody should have to apologize for their opinion. And Nathan Rourke shouldn't have to apologize for his opinion. He's the best quarterback in the league. In fact, I think he should get the MOP trophy just for that alone. He'll earn it with his performance. But he came in, I think I ranked him number 5 top Canadian coming into the league. He's number 1 now. Probably the best player in the CFL right now. And I definitely think he has an opinion, and I'm glad he's sticking by it respectfully, in a respectful way, not as fired up as yours truly, although his first rant was very passionate. And yeah, if those guys don't have to apologize for their opinion, he shouldn't have to apologize. And I'm not a tinfoil hat wearer. I'm sorry. Like, let's see what Jeff is saying. Jeff goes, go roll it back up there. Jeff says, and you could check it out. He doesn't have final say. It's the board. Chill out, Ballsy. It's not implemented. Chill out, my man. Yeah, come on. You gotta. I'm screaming. I'm on the Titanic, and there's the iceberg, and everybody's drinking and having a great time. I'm like, no. There's the iceberg. No. There's the iceberg. I believe I'm right. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. But all of a sudden now we're starting, now expansion's on mid-burner and everything like that. So we'll see. But hey, great weekend of football. Montreal is back. Davis Alexander looks great. They've run 3 in a row. BC is rolling. They're 8-7. Nathan Rourke firing on all cylinders. Matthew Betts leading the league in sacks, coming out like a cannon. Winnipeg's the best they've looked all year, 40-3. They destroy. Absolute beatdown on the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and they get a bye for the first time in 11 weeks. And that is the reason why we need expansion. A team playing 11 straight weeks without a bye is unfathomable. That's how you say it. Unfathomable. Never said I was great at English. Anyway, so they're on a bye, and the Riders stubbed their toe 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row, they don't have the jam they need to win the game, and give the Elkamos credit. The Edmonton Elks come up with a 27-25 win. Mark Killam's got that team pointed in the right direction. Love Mark Killam. Like JC Sherritt a lot, and I have utmost respect for Chris Morris. Good job by the Edmonton Elks winning that game today for them, 27-25. Riders, they're in Ottawa next Friday. Great facility. That's going to do it for the show. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for catching the show. A reminder, the best form of promotion is word of mouth. So please tell everybody you know about this show. As we grow this show, we in turn help to grow the game we love, the 3-down game. Catch you next time.